Hello, friends. Time to read another story. Bob got into the spirit. Sophia wanted to see him dress as Frog or Toad, so he decided to dress like Frog. What do you think? Pretty good, huh? All right, so we're going to read one of our favorites, Frog and Toad, and this is the Storybook Treasury, so we have lots of stories in here that we get to read. And of course, that's by Arnold LaBelle. Let's start. Oh, there they are. Frog, Toad. Frog and Toad, Storybook Treasury by Arnold LaBelle. Boy, with this rainy weather, that hot cocoa and fireplace look good. All right, so look at all these stories that we have. These are 4 books in one. So there's our table of contents. And we're going to start with the first book, which is Frog and Toad Are Friends. It starts on page 7. And our first story is Spring. I thought that was a good one to start with. It's on page 8 because, my friends, it just turned spring. We've been talking about our seasons. And when we had a lot of discussion about when did spring start, and it actually started at the end of last week. So it is officially spring. So let's go ahead and read. Frog and Toad are friends. Looks like they're enjoying a good book too. Spring. Frog ran up the path to Toad's house. He knocked on the front door. There was no answer. Toad, Toad, shouted Frog. Wake up, it is spring. Blah, said a voice from inside the house. Toad, Toad, cried Frog. The sun is shining. The snow is melting. Wake up. I'm not here, said the voice. Frog walked into the house. It was dark, and all the shutters were closed. Those are kind of like curtains, right? Toad, where are you? Called Frog. Go away, said the voice from the corner of the room. Toad was lying in bed. He pulled the covers over his head. Frog pushed Toad out of bed. He pushed him out of the house and onto the front porch. Toad blinked in the bright sun. Help, said Toad. I cannot see anything. He looks too comfortable in his bed. Don't be silly, said Frog. What you see is the clear, warm light of April, and it means that we can begin a whole new year together, Toad. Think of it, said Frog. We will skip through the meadows and run through the woods and swim in the river. In the evenings, we will sit right here on this porch and count the stars. Aw. You can count them, Frog, said Toad. I will be too tired. I'm going back to bed. He's kind of grouchy. Toad went back into the house. He got into the bed and pulled the covers over his head again. But Toad, cried Frog, you will miss all the fun. Listen, Frog, said Toad. How long have I been asleep? You've been asleep since November, said Frog. Well then, said Toad, A little more sleep will not hurt me. Come back again and wake me up about 1/2 May. Good night, Frog. Covers over his head. But Toad, said Frog, I will be lonely until then. Toad did not answer. He had fallen asleep. Frog looked at Toad's calendar. The November page was still on top. Frog tore off the November page. He tore off the December page. And the January page, the February page, and the March page. He came to the April page. Frog tore off the April page too. Oh. Then Frog ran back to Toad's bed. Toad, Toad, wake up! It is May now. What? Said Toad. Can it be May so soon? Yes, said Frog. Look at your calendar. Toad looked at the calendar. The May page was on top. Why, it is May, said Toad, as he climbed out of bed. Then he and Frog ran outside to see how the world was looking in the spring. The end. All right, I hope you enjoyed this story. Our first one, Spring with Frog and Toad. Remember in the comments, tell me if you want me to read another story. I'm going to keep reading some Frog and Toad, but we're going to read some other stories also. All right, tell Bob how you would like him to dress up. All right, have a good time, my friends.